Hello and welcome to CWU News. Coming up, CWU instructs members not to handle competitors' mail. Union busting at Virgin Media, 1,000 new jobs at Parcel Force, and O2 creates anger over new franchise plans. The CWU has announced it intends to instruct its members not to handle competitors' mail. The announcement was made at the Future of UK Postal Services conference attended by Royal Mail Chief Executive Moya Green and Nick Wells, Chief Executive of TNT Post UK. The move follows TNT's start of delivery trials in London that the union believes is a direct threat to the pay, terms and conditions of every employee in the postal industry.
What's important here is that the members recognise that this next step of competition, end-to-end, where they'll actually be out delivering on the streets, as Nick Wells puts it, putting orange posties on the streets, is a serious threat to the universal service. We can't take this lying down. We do have to now get the members behind our position. So this is still an industry that's worth fighting for, and we want to make sure that we're in there fighting for the universal postal service and for decent postal jobs.
Over 1,000 Royal Mail contact centre and customer support workers are set for a £500 pre-Christmas pay boost in recognition of their hard work and focus and continued dedication. The payout, which reflects their success in achieving all of their performance targets, exceeds last year's bonus of £325 and is the highest amount ever paid out by the scheme. The CWU has welcomed confirmation that the Post Office has been awarded the DVLA contract. The contract will provide the network with £450 million over the next 7 years, rising to £650 million over the next 10 years. The union hopes that similar contracts will now follow to help maintain the network of 11,500 branches. Under a new reform, BT, BT Fleet and BT MSL now have a legal duty to ensure that all eligible employees are put into a pension scheme that meets government standards. Auto-enrolment is a process that has been put into place by the government to help people save more money for their retirement. Employees will be automatically enrolled if they're aged between 22 and the state pension age and earn just over £8,000 a year. And now let's take a quick-fire look at some of the other news headlines from around the union. Senior Deputy General Secretary Tony Cairns has claimed the present younger generation will be the first since the early days of the Industrial Revolution to be poorer than their forebears. Opening the National Youth Education event in Belfast, he called on young people to fight back and paid tribute to the way in which the youth profile in the union had built up over the year. CWU General Secretary Billy Hayes has attacked the government for targeting cuts at the disabled and those least able to cope. He accused the government of putting 500,000 people into hardship by scrapping the disability living allowance. Men across the country have sported moustaches to raise funds for charity. The annual Movember phenomenon raises thousands for Prostate Cancer UK every year. And as Royal Mail's current charity of the year, the company pledged to match every penny raised by employees taking part. Virgin Media has made a shock announcement to the CWU that it no longer intends to recognise the trade unions that represent its employees. Instead, the company intends to resolve employee relations through its own internal voice forum. The company has pushed through the move by balloting its entire active division workforce, even though many of those balloted are not even in recognised parts of the company. The union now expects to be served a 3-month notice period and has voiced its concern for workers at Virgin Media, where CWU membership is still growing.
Looking to the future, for the people who are outraged by this decision of Virgin Media, what I want you to do is get involved. Contact one of the local reps. You've got all their names because they're on the SharePoint site. Contact the local rep. Ask that rep what you can do as a CW member, or if you're not a CW member anyway, contact them and say, what can you do? Think about joining the CWU, but get involved. What can you do? How can you spread the message around other people in Virgin Media? Because the thing that's going to make Virgin Media listen is by the CWU becoming stronger, by having more members and more people talking about the union.
Postal workers in Bristol have voted to take strike action in the run-up to Christmas over accusations of bullying and harassment from managers. The issue is centred on problems at the city's South East delivery office, and has arisen following the implementation of a delivery revision that has left workers unable to deliver rounds within their time. The CWU has reacted angrily to plans announced by mobile phone company Telefonica O2 that it's to franchise 82 of its retail stores, putting more than 500 jobs in an uncertain position in the run-up to Christmas. CWU negotiators have taken the unusual step of issuing an open letter condemning O2's decision to embark on the major cost-cutting plan, which leaves 412 retail assistants in CWU-represented grades with uncertain futures and only limited protections under TUPE legislation. The union also believes the move could threaten to destabilise the whole retail network of 450 shops, not just the 82 affected by the announcement. And now more quick-fire headlines from around the union. CWU leaders welcome the opportunity to join representatives from several other organisations at the first Post Office Stakeholder Forum held in November. More than 150 national, regional and branch reps attended a CWU forum in York to debate future priorities in the telecoms and financial services industries. The event aimed to map out a recruitment and organising strategy that maximises membership and active participation. BT has launched a major new drive to provide confidential help to engineers in BT Operate and Openreach who think they may be dyslexic. The CWU is fully supportive of this initiative and will be jointly promoting the campaign. The CWU, along with other unions, gathered at Westminster in November to demonstrate against controversial changes to the Criminal Injuries Compensation Scheme. Despite union cooperation and cross-party opposition to the new amendments, under new guidelines passed by Parliament, up to 90% of injured victims will now have their compensation significantly reduced or abolished altogether.
Workers that are victims of crime, suicides, get bit by dogs, get attacked, get spat on, are all entitled to a fixed amount of compensation laid down by law. So all of the unions concerned have come together today to say that why are you picking on workers, the ones who are victims of what's taking place? And the fact of the matter is the vast majority of the public don't agree that the compensation should be taken away from people.
The CWU has expressed its grave disappointment with the government's response to the Business, Innovation and Skills Select Committee report on post office network transformation. The union claims the government response ignores the concerns of the Select Committee and has failed to grasp the problems within the network, which it says will lead to more post office closures in the long term. The CWU has said that financial results released by Royal Mail, which show a rise in revenues and profit margins, is proof that modernisation can be successful within the public sector. The results are the first since price rises came into force and since the post office and pension deficits were removed from Royal Mail Group. However, although the union has welcomed the announcement, the CWU has claimed that the results are masking some of the ongoing problems in the industry and has called on the regulator to step in to protect the universal service. Around 2,000 cleaners and engineers employed by maintenance and facilities firm Romec are set to vote on possible strikes after pay talks between the CWU and the company broke down. The company's offer of a 1.5% pay rise backdated to April has been deemed unacceptable by union negotiators for workers who have been waiting since January for their annual wage increase.
We need to ballot our Romec members because it's nearly 12 months since the settlement date for their pay rise. Romec budgeted for a 1.5% increase. We've had numerous meetings with them over the months. They've not improved their offer at all. Now, we understand that times are tough generally, but Romec has met all of its targets. It was set very testing targets by its shareholders in response to significant cuts in the price that it receives from Royal Mail for undertaking work for the company. Nevertheless, it's achieved all those targets. As a result of that, managers have received a bonus worth 15% of their salary. Yet its offer to our members is 1.5% 3 months late, and it's not been prepared to increase that offer in the negotiations. That means that it values managers' contribution more than 10 times the contribution of our members, Frankly, it's an insult.
We're reasonably confident that we will get a yes vote, and that's why we want not just cleaners representatives, we want all the representatives of the trade union in processing, delivery, distribution, network. Wherever there's a Romec cleaner on site, we want our reps and our members to speak to them and give them moral support and, you know, say to them, you need to vote yes. It's extremely important that you vote yes.
CWU has given a qualified welcome to the news of a £75 million investment by Royal Mail in the parcel force business that the company says will create 1,000 new jobs. The investment over a 4-year period will see a new parcels processing plant established at Chorley in addition to the hub at Coventry. There'll also be new hubs in Hampshire and Cornwall with expansion of 9 existing centres. Well, that's all for this edition. Remember, you can now keep up to date with all breaking news via the CWU website, eVoice, CWU TV, and the union's dedicated YouTube channel. But until next time, thanks for watching.